So we pretty much spent the last 5 weeks learning how to use large language models and chatbots to do our best work, to help us in the process of research, and hopefully you were able to learn a couple of things. What I wanted to do with this module was kind of sum up the major points that I think are the most crucial that you can take forward with you as you continue to learn how to use AI in your own work. So there are 3 things that I want to leave you with, and here's the first one. The real strength when it comes to large language models is not its ability to do stuff for you, but it's to interpret and pay attention to your own words. We know that we can use large language models to just generate a paragraph or multiple paragraphs, but a lot of the exercises that we've been working on in this class have been more about telling the chatbot and telling the AI to reflect on your own writing, on your own ideas. We've had the chatbot give you feedback on your writing. We've had the chatbot try to understand your problem. We've had the chatbot also act like an interface between you and much more powerful statistical software. And throughout this entire class, what I've tried to do is design as many activities and to design as many assessments as possible to give you practice in having the chatbot work with you with your words. So if that is the biggest strength of these large language models, I think it's worth talking about the biggest weakness. And it's that they can sometimes lie to you. And in fact, they can lie to you and be very convinced that they're telling you the truth. Now, this might be kind of a hot take, but in my opinion, this is maybe the most human aspect of a large language model. So if you just think about it for a second, human beings are not textbooks. We as humans are able to learn a lot of information, but if you ask me a question on any given day, as much as I'd like to be 100% accurate all the time, I can't be. The big difference between me and a large language model is I have been trained as a scientist to be completely okay with saying, I don't know. I don't think that's what these large language models can do just yet. We might be moving towards some technical advances that get us closer to that area, and maybe we can get there with a little bit more fine tuning. And the real downside of these large language models is that they can be so convincing. When we get a response back from a large language model, it seems so perfect. It seems to make so much sense. And that can be a little misleading. So that's something that you definitely have to be aware of moving forward. Here's the last thing that I want to talk about. And we didn't really have that much space to talk about it in terms of this class, but it's something that has been sitting in the background. And it's that, especially when you're dealing with technology and these big tech companies, nothing is ever for free. You might just take a step back and ask why does everyone have access to ChatGPT? Why does everybody have access to Gemini? Why did Google give you a free year subscription to its most advanced tools? They're not doing it just to help you out. Somewhere along the line, there is some financial decision, some financial choice to release these products out into the world. And so I don't think that makes these products inherently evil, but I do think that it is important, if you are going to use these products, which you probably will as they become more and more prevalent in our society, what are you actually giving up? I think even just taking a second to think about that is really important. You are actually in a much better position than some of your classmates or people that you work with, because you have now seen, at least in my opinion, the best way that you can use these models. I don't think any of you are going to leave this class and use large language models the same way that an average general member of society is going to. How have you learned to use large language models differently? And using some of the strategies and some of the prompting and some of the ideas that we've gone over in this class, how does that prevent you from giving up too much of your thought or too much of your work? I do think that it's important to periodically just think about how you're interacting with technology, whether it's AI or smartphones or algorithms or AdSense or tracking, any of these technologies. I think it's really important to really weigh for yourself and to make this decision for yourself. What are the positives that you're getting from these tools, and what is it actually costing you? So as we wrap up this 5-week course, one thing that I hope is abundantly clear is that this is a never-ending journey. Sure, that's because the technology is constantly changing, but I also think that it's a lifelong journey, because to be a responsible human being that uses AI, you have to constantly evaluate what does it mean to be using AI correctly? And from any point, whatever you care about, are you using it correctly to get the most out of it, to be really efficient with your time, to be really efficient with your knowledge? Are you using AI correctly in terms of the ethical sense, where you're doing the least amount of damage possible to other human beings? Are you thinking about this from an environmental standpoint? Whatever it means to use AI correctly, I think it's something that you need to constantly evaluate as the technology develops and as the use cases for this technology advances in the future. I don't think I have to emphasize just how quickly all of this is changing. I've actually had a lot of fun teaching this class, and I've learned a lot personally about this technology through teaching this class. But one of the most frustrating things is just opening up my news feed and seeing a new article that I want to include, or a new YouTube video, or a new podcast. Everything is changing so fast, and it is really, really hard to keep up. But here's the last point that I want to leave you with. You don't have to know everything to make informed decisions about how you use AI in the future. I think that it is impossible to know everything that there is to know about this field and to be on the cutting edge all the time. There are some tools that I don't know anything about. There are some ethical aspects of this that I don't know anything about. So I think if you can keep an open mind when it comes to artificial intelligence or any future technology that has such a large potential to change how we live and how we work, it is important to be open, because you're not going to be really comfortable with your own decisions if you're not open to learning what those decisions actually mean and what is guiding those decisions. But it's going to take more than just being open. If you leave with anything from this class, I hope it's that when you are presented a new tool or a new way of thinking, you are both open and also very critical. It is incredibly important that you not only experience different points of view, but also that you use that to kind of reflect on, well, what do I think? What is my point of view? How does my point of view agree or disagree with that? Or how does my point of view, like, what parts of my points of view can be changed or strengthened or modified when I'm faced with new ideas or new technology? I think that kind of what lives at the heart of a scientist, right? Being both critical and open simultaneously. And I hope that those are skills that you develop with your 4 years here at the university. And I hope that's something that you take with you forward as you become a future researcher. So, last video for this entire class. I just want to say thank you for coming along this journey with me. It has been an absolute pleasure to learn about you a little bit more and to put you in these situations and scenarios to use these really futuristic tools that are on the cutting edge of technology today. I wish you the best on your future journeys, and hopefully I get to meet you in person sometime.